On today's episode of PJ and the Beard, we're going to take a look at the guitar. But before we do that, I'd like to ask you to consider subscribing to the channel, click on the notification bell. Your interaction with us helps us interact with great people in the industry. In this case, we went back to our friends at Zzounds and we asked for a number of guitars. And the first one we asked for was the St. Vincent by Music Man, the Sterling version of that guitar.
Yeah, it looks something like this. You've probably seen these floating around, right? Mm-hmm. There's the Music Man version,
right,
which is kind of higher end.
Yeah.
Costs a little bit more money, but then they came out with this. Listen, there's a story behind why this is here, and it's not just because it's kind of gold, champagne-ish. I said to Pat, let's grab 3 guitars from Zzounds that are totally out of character, guitars that we would not typically grab. Or he said it to me. One of us said it. I forget, and we've been trying to come up with a name for that tonight. We've had trouble. So we went to ChatGPT and we said, hey, write us a title for a YouTube video where YouTubers get 3 guitars that are totally out of character for the channel. And
ChatGPT did great. These guitars are so wrong, they might be right. That's more about that. The other one was, this is what happens when you betray your guitar identity. And the one that was the funniest, 3 guitars that would swipe left on us.
Yeah.
Like, nope.
I don't know that any of those are making the cut, but it gives you an idea of where we're going with this. So, up first in the 3 guitars that would swipe left on us is the Sterling by Music Man. This is a signature model.
Yep.
For St. Vincent.
Right.
This is the Goldie.
Champagne color.
Yes. I think it's fair to say a lot of times when we get signature stuff in, you have this feeling like we should try and play like the person who the piece of gear is for.
Right.
It's not happening.
No, it's not.
I mean, I know a little bit about St. Vincent. I've watched some clips of her on YouTube and stuff, but I don't know a lot about her.
And you definitely don't want us to dress like her when we're playing that guitar. You won't be able to unsee that.
Yeah, for real. Anything else you want to say about that?
No, I mean, I didn't know much about her. I like the guitar. 3-time Grammy winner. She's been around. And
she's very talented.
Yeah.
I was impressed. Cool guitar playing, cool band. Like you watch the band, it's kind of there's a hip thing to it going on. But for boomer blues guys, swipe left. Anyway, we always start with a quick what do we like about the guitar, and then we'll get right into some sounds for you. So for me, I love the color. I do like that champagne. I like anything that's kind of gold, sparklish, has gold foil pickups in it. These are mini humbuckers. And they have kind of a unique sound to them. I've heard people kind of compare it to like a really hot Telly neck or something like that. I don't know if that's true or not, but they're pretty cool. I like that. The neck is nice. Is it like a roasted?
It's a roasted maple neck.
Roasted maple neck. Locking tuners, tremolo. What do you like about it before you give us some clean tones?
I did like the neck. This is the second Sterling we've had in with a roasted maple neck. We had a Cutlass. Might have been a little darker, maybe a little slicker. I did like the pickups as well. We have some gold foils back there on a Supro, but they're more of the single coil.
I feel like it,
right? Yeah. Pickups were very unique. Neck was very comfortable. I really liked the trem. I probably played a little better with it off camera than I tried to do some things in my clip. It's a light guitar. When she was looking to do a guitar, she was actually playing the Albert Lee, and it's a little smaller, little odd shape, and she liked this one for the weight and the cut and the carve. She said it was sort of a unisex guitar, not super heavy, not big and bulky, and that played out tonight. And even when you're playing it sitting down, it sits nicely. It was easy to play. It was fun to explore. So. First thing we did was just give you the clean tones for all 3 pickups, all 5 selections, the 5-way selector. And I played this to let you hear that.
So in this next clip, I played through all 5 pickups again and tried to do something maybe a little more of some single note stuff in it, just so you could hear the difference in the pickups. And I really thought you could. Mm-hmm. So here's that clip.
So now what we want to do is something just a little different. We got some feedback and said, hey, what if you went through all the pickup selections with a drive? Which you've certainly seen that on other channels and other things like Brian Ewald at PRS kind of does that for different things. So we took that to heart. So I grabbed the Noble Screamer, a pedal I tend to play a lot, and I play it in one of the hybrid settings with the tone from the Tube Screamer and the drive from the 808. And I played something on all 5 pickup selections so you can hear how each one of those take drive. And here it is.
So our typical format, we start jumping into series. We start jumping into like pedals that have been around that have been played in a while that we like, maybe something new that came in. But we are trying to change this up just a little bit tonight. Pat, we both did a clean sound. Pat did the walkthrough on a drive pedal. Picked kind of a different drive from what Pat picked. So this is an Analogman King of Tone. I feel like when you say that, you're just bragging that you have it. Maybe that's why we don't have it on the show very often.
If he was bragging about it, he'd say there's a second one back there, but he's not bragging about it.
Yes, the Analog King of Tone, played through all 5 positions again with this tune.
All right, as the Beard said, sometimes we pick pedals for different reasons and sometimes related to a series, and this one is related to a series. We recently, with the shipment of guitars, also got in the Spaceman Delta 2 Harmonic Trem. We have not shot a video on it. We have played around with this for exactly like 5 to 10 minutes. It sounds great. I decided to use it on this clip, and here it is. All right, so one of the things we always do when we get in a guitar is we want to take it for a spin and do a jam just to see how we react to it. It reacts to us. And so obviously I played the star of the show. I went Keeley again. This is not sponsored by Keeley, but they were kind enough to get us the 4-in-1 pedals and we love using them. So I grabbed the Angry Orange And I had it again in the hybrid setting on the DS Tone and the MF drive. And I used the Angry Orange with the Echo Tour. I'm playing through the Tyler.
Right, and then I was straight into the Hot Rod Deluxe back there. And I grabbed, it's been on the channel before. Very limited.
Right.
This is a Guild Starfire 4. Man, I'm not going to remember now, but I want to say 80s. It's like in the 80s, maybe. Maybe 90s. I'll have to look that up. Anyway, it was set up, had 11s on it, real high action. This weekend, put 10s on it, brought the action down, did some work on it. And so, played that. Here's the jam. For my next clip, I went to our UniVibe series, but this is a pre-UniVibe series pedal. I think we haven't done we have a video on it, but maybe not a UniVibe series video on it. This is the Waterfall from RFO Electronics, and man, he's doing some cool stuff with this pedal. So here's the Sterling St. Vincent Goldie through the Waterfall.
All right, getting to my last clip. Again, this is not sponsored by Keeley. But, you know, I did get caught up in the moment of the shape of that guitar and the modern look of it and thought, well, let me play something out of character. So we recently got in the Octa Psi to try out from Zzounds and plugged it in, turned the rotary all the way around to figure out which octave I wanted, played the fuzz, then switched on the octave, and it was a lot of fun. Here it is.
So as we're recording this, I keep looking up at the screen. It really doesn't look that bad.
Right.
It's not that, I shouldn't say that. It's not as crazy as maybe we thought it was originally.
Right.
At least sitting here looking at the screen, it looks good. Maybe it's just because it looks good on me. I'm not sure. But
goes with the beard.
The blonde hair and the
that's right.
gold. Yeah. If I'm going to play an out-of-character guitar, I thought, well, I'm going to play an out-of-character pedal. And you might be surprised that an out-of-character pedal for me is a Klon. Like, I just...
Look at this for both of us.
Yeah. So I have the Mjolnir here from Mythos. This is the Wildwood guitar version of it. So, yeah, two pre-iced ride pedals. And you know what, man, it sounded great. I thought it sounded great. And it sounded great. I'm like trying to figure out what to play. And I'm just hitting like these like partial riffs from different potentially songs. And Pat was just like, just play that.
Do it.
That's all the clips we have for tonight. Before we get into the final thoughts, we like to set up the final jam so you know what's coming, and then you can either skip the final thoughts, either use the chapters down below, fast forward, hold your button on your finger on the side of your iPhone, it will 2 times it, whatever, and jump to the jam if you want. In the jam, I use the Figure Barber Electronics direct drive. I always kind of go back to home base with the Echo Tour into the Tyler. Lots of... Listen. I'm like, play something kind of bluesy.
Right.
You know, like, it is what it is. What'd you do?
So when you want to go bluesy, you get the other 3 mini humbucker guitar. I grabbed the Revolta Mandata, played it through the Fender Hot Rod, and tried to do the blues.
So, final thoughts? You thought we were cutting, didn't you?
I did think we were cutting, but I'm putting that down. Gosh, why don't I just always say it? I did like it. I love Music Man because I'm a big Steve Lukather fan. I like Albert Lee. I like John Petrucci. I like Steve Morse. All those guys have the high-end signatures. I've seen Steve Lukather's son, Trevor, play one of these. So I've seen them before, didn't know anything about them. And so to get one in, I thought was really cool. It's about the only guitar I think I can tolerate a reverse headstock on. It doesn't, like you said, you were making the comment, it looks good. I think, you know, when she wanted to get a signature guitar, she was talking to Sterling Ball and you know, she said, I'm playing the Albert Lee, and they kind of went through all these iterations, and they talked about maybe how that looked like a race car, like a Corvette or something. They went this whole thing to make it unique for her. And I think where they did really well is I really like the pickups, especially 1, 3, and 5. The 2 in-betweens were good. I used them both. I used it in 4 on the tremolo, but I thought that bridge and that neck were very distinct. Easy to play, light. It's $779, I think it is. I thought it was nice. It makes me curious to try the full-on $3,200 one. But again, for a signature, we're not going to play anything like other people. We're not going to play like them. So we just approach it like, how would we use it? And it's for me, it just pushed me towards the Octa Psi just for fun. But it's a fun guitar. It is really light. It's very ergonomic. The roasted neck is nice.
Yeah. I mean, and some of those things, the roasted neck, the locking tuners at this price point, fretwork is done really nice. You're not going to tear any nylons on that. It is light. I tell you what, I will try and weigh it And if that works, I'll put the weight right here. And then, so you know what the weight is. Because we didn't weigh it. Because then it's like, I pick it up like this, it feels heavier. It does in your lap, it feels like super light. I don't know. The body shape is weird. But with the belly cut in the back and some of the plastics starting to put the belly cut in the back and stuff, it just feels comfortable sitting on your lap. I think it's funny when we get 3 guitars. We've been trying to do this a couple times now. We get 3 different guitars in from 3, and typically they've been like 3 Strats with a humbucker, 3 335 type guitars, 3 traditional Strat guitars. This one, they are so different from each other, but I'm really looking forward to the video at the end where we go, which one would we keep? Where would we land? As I gotta admit it, there was in the beginning, I was like, probably not a contender for me. Just based on guitar snobbery, right? Like, that's not the typical body shape.
This is what happens when you betray your guitar identity.
Yeah. So, be interesting to see. I'm looking forward to doing the other 2 guitars. Stay tuned for those. I think there's some surprises in there. I think there's some surprises in there. Stay tuned for those, and then I look forward to comparing them. But but as far as like playability and stuff, it's a pretty solid guitar, especially at the price point. Yeah. With that, thanks for watching. Thanks for clicking the subscribe button, hit notification bell, leaving like comments, any of that stuff. Those are the things that help us interact with cool people like Zzounds in this case, and getting cool stuff to share with you. And so with that,
I'm PJ on behalf of the Beard, reminding no matter what you hear, you never have too much gear.